Hello students, in last class we were discussing about variables. So variables means which can change from place to place, person to person, time to time. As we discussed about types of variables. So in the types of variables we observed two, one is continuous variable, another one is discrete variables. Okay, in the continuous there we observed any numerated value as when discrete value, certain values. In the continuous variable we discussed any numerated value or any numerated variable. As well as in discrete variable we observed only certain values, particular values. Okay, and also discrete we observed that a value jump from another value, that is a jump from one value to another value. It will jump from one value to another value, but in the continuous variable there was no jump, means there was continuous, either integral values like fractional values, whatever, there was no jumpings, right? So to understand that one, to understand easily, we need to understand about the frequency distribution. So frequency distribution, see, it is a method. Frequency distribution, it is a method of classifying raw data of quantitative variable. It is a very important method. So we are discussing about the frequency distribution. Okay. Frequency distribution is nothing but it is a method of classifying raw data of quantitative variable. So when we are collecting any data, that should be considered as a raw data only. After that only, to understand and to provide any solution for that issues, we need to organize the data. We need to classify the data. How we can classify it? On the basis of four types. That was chronological classification, spatial classification, quantitative classification, qualitative classification. So here, to understand any concept, to understand any topic, to understand any problem or provide a solution for that, we need to classify the data. First, what we are collecting from the primary and secondary sources, that is called as raw data only. So after classified, we can consider as a perfect data. Okay. So through frequency distribution only we can understand the concepts. So when it is a method, which one? Frequency distribution is a method of classifying raw data of quantitative variable. This is nothing but frequency distribution is a method. It is a method of classifying raw data, of quantitative variable. Right? It shows how different values variable are. Okay, how different values of variable are distributed in different classes. Are understanding? It shows how different values of variable. Variable means you observe. Just go back to the example of marks of mathematics obtained by 100 students. Okay. Marks of mathematics obtained by 100 students. Just go back to that example. In the table we observed that like 42, 43, 47, 50, 80, 90, 99, like 100, 0, right? That was a table. That table considered as a raw data. That on that basis, on the example of that table only, I will explain this one. Okay. So here, which one? The frequency distribution method or frequency distribution shows how different values of variable. Different values means in the table you observe that 43, 41. Okay, there are so many values like marks of 100 students, right? So that variable are distributed in different classes along with their corresponding class frequencies. You have to understand here that raw data can be explained with the help of frequency distribution. Raw data can be understood with the help of frequency distribution. How? That is, see, this frequency distribution can show how different values of variables are distributed in different classes. You have to observe here These are called as different classes. This is the class 0 to 10, one class, 10 to 20, two classes, like 20 to 30, three classes, for like 30 to 40, four classes. Like these are called as classes. See, it shows how different values of variables are distributed in different classes. These are called as different classes. Are you understanding? There are 10 classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 classes, different classes along with their corresponding class frequencies. Class frequencies. These are called as frequencies. So how we can get the frequencies? Here you have to understand about that on the basis of example, the table. How many are got 0 to 10 marks? 0 to 10 marks. There was only one student got which one? 0 to 10. That was in the table you observed that 0. There was only one student got only 0. What about the 10? This value it will goes to another class because it will start from 10 only. This value it will goes to another class. That time you can calculate the 10 in this class only. Okay, here 10 to 20, how many you got? We have to calculate only 10 to 19. 10 to 19, how many are got? That is 8 members and 8 students. What about the 20? This 20 it will go for next class. It will calculate in this class. Are understanding? It is the next class. Here we have to calculate only 20 to 29. We have to calculate 20 to 29. How many are got? 6. You can just observe and calculate in the table. Already given the table. Again, here we have to calculate 20 to 29. Then what about 30? 30 will be calculated in the next class. These are all called as classes. These are all called as frequencies. If you go to the table, if you understand the table, if you observe the table, you can understand clearly. So these are all frequencies. How many students are got marks? Like in these classes. Here it is calculating only below this number only, below this number. Below 10, below 20, below 30, below 40, below 50, below 60, below 70, below 80, below 90, below 100. It is including only this value like 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, between this, it is calculating 0 to 9. It is calculating 10 to 20, 19. It is calculating 20 to 29. It is calculating 30 to 39. It is calculating 40 to 49. It is calculating 50 to 59. It is calculating 60 to 69. It will calculate only 70 to 79. It will calculate 80 to 89. It will calculate 90 to 100. Okay, why we are calculating this 100 here? Because there is no another class. There is no another class. That's why we have to calculate here 90 to 100. Okay. Okay, this is called as frequency distribution. This is called as frequency distribution. Okay, don't get confusion. Frequency distribution is nothing but it is a method. Frequency distribution is a method of classifying raw data of quantitative variable. Because this is frequency distribution. If you observe the table, that what we observed in like raw data, I explained in the raw data. So that is raw data table. In that there was no explanation of how many are got, how much. How many are got how much? There was no explanation. That was called as raw data. Using that raw data, we can classify with the different variables. That is with the expression or with the help of frequency distribution. This is the perfect data. This is the frequency distribution. So what we observed in the raw data, that what we observed in the table, that was considered as a raw data. That was not useful. You are using that data, we have to classify. Again, we have to explain with the help of frequency distribution. Okay, it is a method of classifying raw data of quantitative variable. It shows frequency distribution shows how different values of variable are distributed in different classes. Okay, different classes along with their corresponding class frequency. Are understanding? Okay, this is called as frequency distribution. And one more explanation here. Here we have to observe 10 classes. We can observe here 10 classes. So what is the classes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. There are 10 classes. That is 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100. Okay, these it is called as class frequencies. We can call like class frequencies. Class frequencies. These are frequencies. So these class frequency means the number of values in a particular class. The number of values in a particular class. The number of values in a particular class. Okay, so anyhow, this is the frequency distribution. Okay, here each class in a frequency distribution table is bounded by class limit. Okay, each class has a class limit. Each class has a class limit. What is the class limit? That is lower class limit and upper class limit. Okay, each class having a class limits. Lower class limit, upper class limit. Which number having a lower value, that is called as lower class limit. Lower class limit. Which number having a more value, that is upper class limit. Upper class limit. So these are all called lower class limit. These are all called upper class limit. Okay, each class in a frequency distribution having a class limit. Each class having in the frequency distribution having a class limit. The class limits are two. One is lower class limit, another one is upper class limits. The class limits are two ends of classes. The class limits are two ends. Okay, 1, 2. Two ends of class. Two ends of classes. Here the lowest value is called as lower class limit. Highest value is called as upper class limit. Okay, lowest value lower class limit, highest value upper class limit. Anyhow, the differences between lower class limit and upper class limit, the differences between lower class limit and upper class limit is called class interval. The differences between lower class limit and upper class limit is called as class interval. Class interval. Okay, class width. The differences between lower class limit and upper class limit is called as class width or class interval. Class width or class interval. Okay, this can be calculated with the help of class midpoint. Class midpoint. Okay, up to this enough. We will discuss in next class. Don't forget, this is the frequency distribution. Frequency distribution is a method of classifying raw data of quantitative variable. It shows how different values of variable are distributed in different classes along with their corresponding class frequencies. Okay, to understand this table, you have to observe the raw data table. Marks of mathematics obtained by 100 students. You have to observe. You have to calculate only 0 to 9, again 10 to 19, 20 to 29. How many students are got? You have to calculate that one. At that time only you can understand easily. If you not understand, you can ask. Okay. Thank you.